Okay, 6 years. Wanted to give you a quick run through as to what's happening in the new chapter. So, chemical equilibriums, chapter 17 is the next topic that we have to cover. You can see from the screen here, I've posted up a folder onto Edmodo, and there's a few different bits and bobs there. The first one I would point you to is the learning outcomes. You can see that document there, and that runs through everything that we need to be able to do. Nice and straightforward, and we've got the little tick list: good, fair, poor, how you feel that you've done for it. Okay, so that's the first thing, all of the stuff that we need to run through. Then there are notes on two PDFs there. As I said, this one's more like a PowerPoint presentation, and it runs through a few slides of all different stuff that we have to look at, so we can go into that in detail later down the line. This one is more like a revision, kind of one sheet, and it runs through the vast majority of what kind of stuff that we need to know with regards to equilibrium. So that's a nice little kind of brief summary of a few different bits and bobs there. And then finally, well, two bits, we've got the videos. So there's a couple of videos that I've put together for you there. Short and sharp, especially those two processes, the Haber process where we're generating ammonia gas, and the manufacturing of sulfuric acid, or the contact process is what it's known in this chapter. So there's two there. They're nice and straightforward, and really good kind of diagrams and live kind of feed as to what's happening. And then the dynamic equilibrium, the one at the very bottom there, is just a brief kind of overview of what the idea of equilibrium is. So finally, I'm going to point you to the Conical Flask website, as I've asked you to use a number of times over the last few weeks, and I would strongly suggest doing so again, because it's really good. It's got all your topics there. I've shown you all this. So that has video lesson that runs through all of the slides. As you can see, the slides show is there for you to run through at your own pace as well, but you can look at that video and it really kind of goes through everything that you'll need to know. And then there's a couple of questions on a sheet there, kind of summarising everything that's necessary to know. You've got your answers on the other side, nice and simple to check your work with, and then you can fill out that at your own time if you so wish, just to give the people who've put that Conical Flask website together a bit of feedback. So that's all there is to it in terms of the resources that we're using. To give you a quick run through of what I'm expecting today, then start of the chapter, the idea of what equilibrium is. So we've used that term loads of times before. I'm sure you've heard it, or you'd use it in your some kind of context of your own conversations, but it's a balance in some way, shape or form. Okay, so the idea of equilibrium in terms of chemistry is where we have a reaction happening that has products and reactants at a level rate, and the reaction is reversible, so it goes back and forward. So we have two things that come together to give us a product. So the example that I can show you there in the textbook, magnesium and oxygen giving you magnesium oxide, or nitrogen and hydrogen giving you ammonia. And again, the ammonia one is one that we'll look at in a lot of detail in the next lesson, I suppose. But the idea is that these reactions are reversible, which means that the magnesium and the oxygen can go and make magnesium oxide. It can go backwards as well. And in an equilibrium reaction, we have that. You can see it here, especially with this one for ammonia. You can see Haber discovered that the reaction did not go completely from left to right. Some of the ammonia was decomposed to give back nitrogen and hydrogen. So it's back and forward. Okay, so the two things come together to make ammonia, and the ammonia can also decompose or break down to give us nitrogen and hydrogen back. So it's in constant flow of changing back and forward. So that's the general idea of what equilibrium means. So again, using these notes, you can run through, look at a couple of the definitions, and up to Le Chatelier's principle, and a little bit of calculation work. That's what I'm hoping for you to get to do today. So you can see there from 265 up to 268. I would hope that we'll get as far as that, and then the next session we'll start looking at that mandatory experiment that's there on page 269 of your textbook. So that's what I'm hoping for you to look at today. So I'll go into a bit more detail in the post, but just to give you a quick video summary of what's happening in this chapter to start off with. Thank you.